Good morning, happy homesteaders. Star Baby Homestead here. It is a beautiful Georgia morning. It's about 78 degrees, but rapidly getting hot. But I thought I would jump on here before I ran inside to do a quick video on harvesting our peaches. Now, if you've looked at our previous videos, you know when we got this homestead, these peach trees were in a horrible state. Through pruning and through some love and tender care, we have actually had our best year yet. Look at all of these peaches. And I thin peaches out, which is one of the reasons, if you check out my video on thinning the peach trees, I couldn't really get up here. I didn't have my ladder at the time, but peach trees overproduce. And you want to thin them to not only hinder pest and disease, but to also give your tree an opportunity to produce the biggest and best fruit. Also, when you thin the fruit, it helps with keeping your tree from being stressed out. Now, I could have thinned these further out. I think I did in my last video on thinning, I did about 3 to 5 inches per fruit. Up here, as you can see, there's fruit going all along the edges. But luckily, I don't have any disease. I do have a little bit of scab. This tree is prone to everything. So I had to do some spraying, some aggressive spraying. I did it weekly. I did it after rains, even though the type of spray that I was using was good for being waterproof. And I also used kale and clay, which is an excellent spray to use because it keeps your fruit from getting scald. It also keeps the bees away and some birds and pests to a minimum. But if they're aggressive, you want to do what I do, and I just covered. Now, we didn't really cover the top. I actually had ordered one of those full tree covers, but I had to go back around and prune the edges of the tree, and it was becoming a bit much. We work full time, and then coming home and trying to, prune a tree that's already at its full size at 15 feet or more here. Yeah, I didn't think that we really wanted to deal with a cover. Maybe if I can prune it down a bit smaller, I'll be able to do a full cover. But for now, there's so much fruit that there's enough for wildlife. Luckily, we have another peach tree on the opposite side of the property. It's one that sits over here. It's already dropped its peaches. That has been a great deterrent for birds. Not really a deterrent, I'll say it's an attractor, because the birds go over there instead of wanting to deal with our dogs, instead of wanting to deal with all this scary netting that we have where they could get trapped under. So it really helps keep squirrels away. Another reason why you want to prune your trees pretty aggressively is because of these boughs. Look, this one here, it looks like it's almost ready to snap. And luckily the peaches are starting to ripen, so I'm out here picking right now. So far, we've already gotten at least 2 to 3 bushels, and I've given some away. I'm going to be canning some, but look at this canopy. If you can see, all peaches. So we've already lost like one branch, and I really don't like that because when you lose a branch, it kind of opens the tree up for any pests and disease. So you want to be really careful and treat your trees kindly by not letting them get overloaded. So I was a bit lax this time, but time got I got kind of caught up with time, and next you know, it's ready to harvest. So some other tips, what you want to do when it's time to harvest. Not only do you want to start getting your peaches as soon as possible, and what do I mean by that? Well, what I've noticed is that peaches kind of ripen from the outside in. And that could be because the ones on the outer edges of the trees, of course, are the ones that are going to get ripened first because of the sun. So what I do is I start with the peaches on the edges. This one happens to be ripe. And if it has just a slight bit of give. Now, if you want yours to get a little bit softer, you want netting, because once these start to ripen, they're giving off this wonderful sweet aroma that animals for miles can smell. Deer can smell them. You got possums, you got skunks. We have everything out here. So you want to hurry up and get these as soon as you start to smell them. I like to wait till mine has some give with my fingers, a little, just I can bruise it, just slightly press the skin, and you can tell if it's ripe or not. This is a beautiful peach. Absolutely beautiful. Now, peaches, unfortunately, you can't sit them on the counter like a tomato. Dogs are playing. You can't keep them on the counter like a tomato and they'll keep ripening. I mean, they probably will to a degree because there's a lot of sugar in here, but it may not be the way you want. You could try putting them in a bag with apples. From what I know, I mean, let me know if you know anything different, that leaving peaches on the counter they're going to just ripen more. I either can or refrigerate mine, or we eat them fresh, because we know that these don't have a great shelf life for just sitting out. So as soon as they feel soft, you want to go ahead and start picking them. And again, work from the outside of the branch towards the center. Now, something that you may notice is that they all don't ripen at the same time. So with that being the case, you're going to have to check your peaches daily. I'm out here every day. I'm out in the morning, and when I'm not at work, I'm out here in the evening, because there's peaches that they're ripening and I want to pick them before they fall to the ground. Now, it's okay if you get some on the ground, if you get them up relatively quickly. Sometimes if they're bruised, they're not usable, but sometimes they're just sturdy enough. They may have rolled down the netting. That's perfectly okay to pick up fruit from the ground, as long as it doesn't have any worms or bugs in them. But you don't want to leave fruit on the ground, and I'll tell you why. When you leave fruit on the ground, obviously you're going to get not only your pets, which is okay if your dogs eat peaches. However, if they eat too much, you're going to have to deal with the consequences of them having an upset stomach and some digestional issues. But peaches on the ground, such as the ones Cassie is over here. Are you guarding these peaches, Cassie? Are you waiting to eat them? But they attract like yellow jackets, bees, all kinds of, they get worms in them, all kinds of like little yucky pests. And what you end up having is they are attracted to the fruit that is on the tree. So they're going to give out a chemical signal that's like, hey guys, there's fruit over here. And what you're going to get is going to get ants. You're going to get, again, bees, yellow jackets, wasps. And then wasps are notorious for eating your fruit. I found that out with my grapes. My grapes are also a huge ant magnet. And if you don't want to be fighting them, then you need to go out daily and pick up fruit on the ground. Also, picking your fruit up off of the ground is a lovely addition to your compost. These peaches break down pretty fast, but you're going to probably have some pits that are going to show up in your compost bin. I happen to be chucking mine into this burn pile over here, but it's to keep your garden tidy and neat, so that the next following year, you also will have a healthy peach tree. When I first got this peach tree, it was in bad shape. It was cracking. It looked like it had gummosis. But through aggressive pruning and, like I said, tender loving care, I have all of these peaches. So each day, again, I come out and I do the little press test right through the netting. And then later on in the day, we climb up the ladder and we get the ones at the top. Now, of course, the ones at the top are the ones that are going to ripen the fastest because they are being exposed to the sun. So you'll have varying degrees of ripeness with your trees. So the ones at the top are going to be the ones that fall. So maybe next year we're going to look at maybe rigging up a catch so that I don't have as many peaches. If you have a storm that's coming in, a storm is going to rattle these trees and you're going to have peaches on the ground. So you may want to think about one of those gadgets that they use for picking cherries that are kind of like a cup at the bottom of your tree to kind of catch some. But right now, as you can see, I have taken some basic garden netting here and I've kind of tied them over and under the peaches in the pick zone. Now I call this everything beneath that I can reach. That's the pick zone. So I'm more so wanting to keep that area covered than trying to cover stuff at the top. Now we do have some netting at the top. Hubby got on the ladder. Y'all, my balance is so bad. It is not great. I hate ladders. But he got up there and he was able to cover some of the ones at the top. And when I tell you the combination of spraying with a great 2 or 3-in-1, that means it covers insecticide for worms. We had so many worms. Almost every peach last year either had disease or worms. But again, I aggressively sprayed this year. Once after a rain, or once the tree was dry, and then every 2 weeks, I sprayed with a 2 or 3-in-1 spray, which takes care of the insecticide. It took care of any sort of disease, any sort of scab, and I think that's about it. I did notice this tree got leaf spot. So let me show you what I got from Amazon. So this is the product that I use. I got this off Amazon. It had some really good reviews. BioAdvanced 3-in-1 insect disease and plant mite control. And it's for trees, shrubs, rose bushes, flower plants. Guys, I've used this on everything, especially in my vegetable garden, and it really works. My peach tree, my tomatoes, I haven't had any problems with any worms. Aphids were really bad, but this took care of aphids. I have different uses for my different sprays. Permethrin takes care of aphids really well. Also, we have a lot of ladybugs, so I don't have to spray as often. But I just used this spray. It's a concentrate. You use 3 ounces of this spray per gallon of water. And then weekly, I would just spray. I was faithfully spraying, guys. And now, honestly, I have more peaches than I need. But even if you have more than you need, you want to cut down on the amount of birds and squirrels because, again, they will bring their family, they will bring their friends, and your property is going to be overrun. They're going to remember that this is where the food is. So not only does covering it sort of with this garden netting, it scares the birds with all the rustling around, but it actually also just kind of, you have to kind of tie them tight because you still may get some bugs in there, but the insecticide will take care of that. Right now, I'm looking at a wasp that's flying around, and it's because these peaches are starting to smell really good. So again, you want to pick up the peaches on the ground like Cassie's doing, though I think she's inching closer to them so that she can eat them. Mina's been eating them. She's probably snuck off somewhere so she can go eat them in privacy. She is a very sneaky little dog. Mina, come over here. Get away from those grapes. You cannot eat those. Come now. Come on. That's been a chore, keeping the dogs away from the grapes. So anywho, yeah, this has been our best year yet. our best year yet. I hope by next year I'll be able to get to that canopy enough to thin them out. But right now, the fruit up there looks so healthy. Now, if you don't thin, once again, you'll stress out the tree. But the fruit, if your tree is healthy, I mean, that's just what peach trees are going to do. But you don't want any branches to snap. You want to cut down on disease and pests. You don't want to stress your tree out because you want to keep it producing for years to come. I have no idea how old this tree is. I don't know. I probably could ask the previous owners. They lived down the street when they planted these peach trees, because peach trees, I think, they supposedly only are great producers up until like their 5th year or so, which is why I started my orchard down there so that I can have a steady supply of peaches, so that when these go into retirement or we need to, you know, replace them because of disease or whatever, or just old age, I already have some lichen kind of growing on here. But for now, in the 3 years that we've been here, this tree has had more love and care, I think, than ever. That it had, I don't think the previous owners just knew what to do, and that's okay. Everybody doesn't know how to handle and take care of peach trees, but it's always just a wonderful boon when you have them and you can get some peaches from them. I hope you've enjoyed this video on caring for your peach trees and getting them to produce like this. Thank you for all of you who have joined the Star Baby Homestead page. I really appreciate it. We're making our way steadily towards 600 viewers. I'm happy if I can just get up to 500, which we've surpassed that. So I'm pretty pleased about that. Please hit the like and subscribe button if it's something that you'd be interested in, listening about our journey and how to take care of plants the way that we know how and how we've learned, and then with the help of all of you. Be well, be blessed, and happy picking. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.